Welcome back. I hope everyone is doing well out there, and this video will be part 2 of the commonly used phrases that you will hear in law school, especially if you are a law student. So let's just hop right into it. The first one is, on cases that you read, you will see the letter J and then a last name. I know when I first started law school and started reading these cases, I was like, man, isn't it ironic that all these judges have the first name that starts with a J? Well, no, that's not what that is. That just means judge and then the last name, because when we refer to judges, we say judge so-and-so, like we refer to them by their title and then their last name. And that's how cases refer to them. If you see a C and a J, that stands for Chief Justice. So anytime you're in cases and you see the letter J and a last name, it doesn't mean that their first name is John or Jenny or whatever. It could be, but it just stands for judge. So that's one tip you should know for that. The second one is Cali Awards. And so this goes right along with booking. As I mentioned in the previous video, the 2L that I was speaking with, we were talking about what booking an exam means. And she thought that when you book an exam, it's like buying books for the exam. And she's like, why would I buy books for the exam if I'm already in the class? Which that does make a lot of sense, because when you refer to books, you think about purchasing books for classes. But when you're in law school, booking an exam means that you get the highest grade in the class. Like, you booked it. That's the term that we use. And so whoever gets the highest grade, they will book the exam. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to buy books for the exam. And right along with booking, there is Caliing. So Cali is an award that goes to the person with the highest grade in your class. So whatever class that you are, the person who has the highest GPA, they will earn the Cali Award. So that's what that means. The next phrase that we will go over will be outlining. And I had to learn a lot about outlining. So I thought outlining was like a normal outline that you would normally do, like bullet points, or you would do like the Roman numerals with the letters mixed in between. That can be a normal outline, but with law school, outlining is pretty much you have your case book. Here is a copy of my federal income tax case book here, and so this is the book that we use. There's no way that the professor would be able to go over 800 pages in a 6-week course. And even if you have like a professor for a full 13-week semester, and if your case book is 1,200 pages, which my constitutional law case book is, then the professor would not have time to go over all 1,200 pages, just like this professor doesn't have time to go over all 800. So with outlining, all you do is you just outline the particular pages or concepts or the material that the professor goes over for that particular course. And so for me, I was really confused, because I was like, am I outlining like normal, like how you do a normal outline? And you can, or you can do diagrams, you can do paragraphs. It can be any way, like however you learn, that is how you outline. But you just only need to outline the material that your professor covers. So if your professor only covers pages 1 through 600, then you don't need to necessarily worry about pages 700 on throughout the rest of the book. Unless specified by your professor, there would be no need for you to read that material, study that material, or even outline it. And so with your outline, once you have in your own way like conceptualize the topics that your professor covered in your class, then that is what you will use to take your exam. So in a sense, outlining is almost like creating another book just based on what your professor thinks are important concepts for the area of law that they are teaching. So certain professors may not cover certain cases for torts, while another professor will cover certain cases for torts. Like, that's how it was at my school. The torts professor for one section, we cover completely different set of cases than the torts professor for the other section. And so our outlines would look completely different. So you want to outline per your professor, per whatever you go over in class. So if you're confused about what topics should or should not be included in your outline, definitely make a point to go visit your professor during their office hours. And I will do a video about office hours and why they are so beneficial and what you can gain from them. I know a lot of my mentees last semester didn't really go, and I was giving them talk about office hours. So this semester they are going to office hours and they are getting a lot from it. But that's really outlining. That's it. You just want to outline however that is. I mean, if that's flowcharts, do flowcharts. For some people, they're more visual, so doing flowcharts works very well. I believe I did flowcharts for constitutional law. I did flowcharts for Civ Pro. If you have to outline where you are doing like the Roman numerals, where you have like 1 and then a concept, A and then 2, A, B, I, like 2 I's, whatever it is, that works too. Or if you have to do flashcards where you're just writing out all the rules and principles in a flashcard and just going over it that way, that also works as well too. That's what I did for criminal law. I use flashcards. So outlining is the best way to set yourself up for success when studying for your exam. Now, when to outline, that varies. Some people outline from day one. I tried to outline from day one, but it just didn't work for me. Or you can just outline once a week, but make sure you're able to cover all the concepts that you study so that you are not caught off guard when you get to the exam. Bar review. So bar review is an interesting topic because it doesn't mean what you think it means. I know the 2L that I spoke with, she was like, what is bar review? Why am I reviewing for the bar already? And I'm just a 1L. And so, I mean, the question is, should you go to a bar review? I mean, you can if you like to drink, if you're old enough to drink, if drinking is something that you do socially, by all means, go to the bar review. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You're just reviewing the bars in your area. So it's like a social outing. It has nothing to do with law school at all. It's a pretty cool play on words because it's a bar review because you are reviewing the bars in your area. And we also take a bar review prep course because we have to actually take a bar that we really have to review. So when people are just saying, hey, I'm going out for bar review, I'm going to a bar review, it's a social outing. So if you're into that type of thing, by all means do it. If not, then don't. But that's the meaning of bar review. OCI. So this one got a lot of questions because a lot of people did not understand what OCIs are. And OCI stands for on-campus interviews. So when you're a 1L or a 2L and then a 3L, you have OCIs. They're normally in the spring semester, at the very beginning, or at the very beginning of your fall semester, sometime in August. This really depends on your school. And for real specific information about on-campus interviews, go to your Career Service Center and they should be able to help you with that. But I'll tell you what I can. And so with OCIs, you go through a bidding process where employers, they will list it on like your job board or whatever website that your school uses to host jobs. You submit your application, whatever materials they may need, whether it's a cover letter, whether it's like your resume, whether it's a writing sample is very important. A lot of employers will ask for writing samples, especially after you've gone through your first year of law school. So your writing sample or your work product or your transcripts, all of that would be a part of your application, and that's what you would submit. And then you just submit it, and the employers will either accept or deny. And if they accept, then that means they will give you a date, and then you just pick a time to interview. And the cool part about OCIs is that you don't really have to go anywhere because the employers will come to your campus. A lot of times they come to your campus and you will be in a room and you each have about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to interview. So it's not a real in-depth interview. It's more of a getting to know your interview, but still prepare as if it's in-depth. For interview tactics, visit your career services office or your CSO and they will be able to help you with that. But you pretty much just go to the interview once you are selected with the bid. I know for my school, there are certain timelines where we have to have our applications submitted. And so when you are in law school and you see a lot of people dressed up in professional suits and they kind of look like how they're not normally dressed, or they look different than normal because they're all dressed up, it's probably because they have an on-campus interview and the employer is coming to the campus to interview those students. And so that's what OCIs are. Definitely take advantage of them. Like I said, CSO, your CSO is like your best resource for that. But when you hear people talk about on-campus interviews, OCIs, that's exactly what that means. So that's it for the jargon with this video. I will be